As I ventured from my initial landing location into the next room, I quickly noticed that besides the almost deafening sound of fluorescent light bulbs above my head, there was no other discernible sounds. Even my footsteps weren't loud enough to reach my ears. At the time, I attributed this to both the buzzing and how damp the floor seemed to be. Whatever this stuff that soaked the carpet was, it didn't make much noise. As I'd previously mentioned, it smelled mildewy and dank like an unkept attic. As I ran my hand across my face where it had touched the carpet, an oily substance seemed to track onto my fingers. It even tingled my skin a bit as I examined its consistency. This was definitely not water, and most likely the primary source of this foul stench permeating the air. It was definitely worth keeping anything but my shoes off the carpet from then on. With this in mind, I let my eyes scan the environment in front of me. It was awfully similar to the first room. Same wallpaper, same lighting, same carpet. However, there were minor differences to the shape of this one. An awkward wall jutting out here, some extra yellowing in the wallpaper there, and most importantly, only one exit this time. Well, it was either turn back around or go towards the new exit. I chose to keep going. This exact process repeated countless times with me entering a new room, noting minor differences and glaring similarities. Eventually, my patience wore out. At that point, an innumerable amount of time had passed. At least several hours if I had to guess now. Just where the hell was I? Why was this place so big? Why was it so non-linear yet uniform? And where was anybody else? These questions and more flooded my mind. I positioned myself in the middle of a fairly large room that had the ceiling lights out. There was a large partial wall obscuring the next exit in total darkness. Looking into that inky darkness gave me a dreadful feeling in the pit of my stomach. Despite not seeing or hearing anything that could threaten me yet, something felt wrong. Very wrong. Shaking the feeling off, I rummaged through my bag and pulled out my cell phone and a small compass. The cell phone had no service, and the digital clock just showed 4 dashed lines. As for the compass, its dial was spinning around like mad. It was almost like I was in a glitched video game or something. The damn thing wouldn't focus on any direction. It was then that my first real wave of panic started to settle in. I was in some massive building with no way to contact anyone or any method of getting my bearings straight. Combine this with my growing thirst and hunger, and ultimately, I decided to man up and head towards the dark exit. Maybe if I just kept going through rooms, I'd hear someone or find an exit. To keep myself from going crazy, I decided to start counting rooms. 1, 2, 3, 4. Much time passed. Around the 40-somethingth room in this chain, I finally heard a noise other than buzzing. It sounded like a cluster of cockroaches skittering about on a wall a few feet to my left. I glanced at the wall out of the corner of my eye and frantically jumped away as the skittering was clearly coming from something underneath the wallpaper. The wall was definitely moving. It was crawling. I crouched down and closed my eyes tightly, waiting for the sound to go away. Oddly enough, it did. After calming down, I looked at the wall again, only to see nothing. Was I going crazy? Or was there something in this place with me? There was a sound and a sight, and then there wasn't. I didn't want to stick around to find out if any of that was real. Unfortunately for me, though, this occurrence was the beginning of a series of what I now think were intense hallucinations brought on by prolonged psychological strain. From mysterious sounds, to shadows in my peripherals, to repeating rooms, my panic grew as I began running from room to room like a crazed maniac. At one point, I even remember hearing a voice speaking to me. The language wasn't English or any other human language for that matter. It was alien and seemed to come from all around me. Somehow, I knew it was talking directly to me, despite not recognizing the words. I couldn't honestly say how long this portion of the journey went on, but I had never felt so close to utterly losing my mind as when I was wandering those yellow rooms. You might be wondering how exactly I'm now telling this tale after being stuck in a seemingly never-ending loop of yellow-roomed insanity. Well, remember how I mentioned no clipping? As a reminder, it was how I found myself in the back rooms to begin with, after falling off a drop in the woods. Well, after wandering until my sanity was all nearly a distant memory, a flight of ascending stairs appeared before me in the corner of a vast, dark room. This must have felt like a godsend to my tired mind, and I remember making a desperate break for it. I ran for those stairs like a bat out of hell, and my foot went right through them as I attempted to climb. And another damned hallucination. But it was too late. I ran too fast and went careening into the dark, dank corner behind the stairs. The pain of my body thudding against the wall knocked me out of my stupor and returned me to full awareness. This was the first time I'd felt anything but carpet under my feet for probably days. In retrospect, I don't even know how I didn't die of dehydration. But I digress. As I braced myself to hit the ground, a familiar feeling arose. This wasn't a normal fall. I was no clipping again.